the online briefing program that comes to you live every 2 weeks with positive strategies and practical tactics to help you succeed. My name is Sheila Vertino, and I'll be your host today. Our topic is something that's on every developer's mind: what to do while you're waiting. Maybe there's not much development happening right now, but eventually development will reaccelerate. And the smart developer is the one who knows how to keep going and moving ahead despite the current downturn. To tackle this important topic, we turn to a savvy developer who always seems to have a handle on the next best thing. That's George Livingston. Here's a little background on George. As founder and chairman of NAI Realvest in Orlando, Florida, George is responsible for developing the company's corporate and development strategies and overseeing an array of professional services, including brokerage, property management, development, and consulting. His experience includes acquisitions and sales of large tracts of land and sites for development, third-party logistics transactions, and marketing of mixed-use business parks. George is also a very active NAIOP member. He's served as president of NAIOP's Central Florida chapter and as past chair and current member of the Industrial Development One Forum. He's a prolific writer and speaker and a skilled analyst of economic trends and strategic applications to real estate. He brings those skills to his work on the NAIOP Industry Trends Task Force and the Research Foundation's Fundraising Committee. George's presentation today will give you a range of opportunities and revenue streams to consider right now. These ideas represent both George's insights and those of colleagues that he contacted on the Industry Trends Task Force, Industrial Development One Forum, and the Research Foundation governors. I can tell you with absolute certainty that you will definitely come away from this presentation with several new ideas about what to do while you're waiting for development to reaccelerate. George, welcome, and thanks for being with us today and sharing those critical insights.
Sheila, thank you very much for inviting me to do so. I want to also thank all the NAIOP staff for helping us get this going, and also all the people that gave me a lot of these ideas I'm going to share with you today. You know, one reason they chose me, I believe, was we have had a lot of chance to practice waiting here in Central Florida. You know, development is basically at zero, and brokerage revenues are down about 70%. Here's the agenda we're going to talk about today. The current realities is basically where we are. The other our roles are survival. When you do that, try to keep your lease short, and so you get higher rents later. Talk to your tenants that you have now to see if you can leverage them into other opportunities. For example, they build a suit, they have leases in other locations, they have subsidiaries that like to move close, any reason for talking to them. And while you're doing that, increase your service level so that you really build significant relationships which will help you do these other things. And rethink your suppliers and bid your providers. Reward the people that have done a really good job for you, and you probably would go down to a single provider to get a better deal. One thing that's really helped us a lot is that we've gone to a blanket insurance policy. Instead of having single policies and property by property by property, we have one policy that covers all policies. In our case, it saved us about 25 cents a square foot in operating expenses. One thing we have not done but has been done in this market, if you have a big project, is do a wholesale electric buy and then resell it at cost or a minor markup to your tenants. You should really, in Florida, you have the right to challenge tax assessments. If you have the right there, wherever you are, you should look at it, and chances are they're valuing it more than it really is now, and be aggressive on challenging them. And now is a perfect time to upgrade your current properties to get a LEED designation if you can. And the real thrust of all this is, remember that your operating expenses impact cost to occupy. If you can get that down, you have a competitive advantage. Let's talk about capital markets. Whatever size bank you're dealing with, go to one that's smaller or one that's larger or a direct competitor, and consider Canadian banks. They're the most stable banking condition in the world, looking for new relationships. If you can, if it's appropriate and it is feasible, Rob would refinance, consider it at least. Try to raise equity if you can. In some cases, if you have land that's not in the loan, bring it in so you will not have to put additional dollars in. You may want to consider selling some secondary assets to increase your capital base. Deleverage as much as you possibly can, either through raising capital or some other solution. I think if you have a CMBS loan, even though it's a couple of years out, now's the time to talk. As you get close to the end, it'll be more difficult, so you won't have to work with a master service provider or special service provider. You may consider taking a capital partner to reduce your debt load. We have seen some cases recently here that the borrowers have actually bought their loan down by finding another lender. Say it's a $10 million loan, they buy it for $8, and you got 2 off. And the real key, I think, is talk. Talk to everyone that you can to begin to build that relationship. There'll be no surprises. In the world of land, you should reconsider resubmitting any land use request, like a rezoning that had been previously turned down. The governments are much more willing now to reconsider things, or actually accepting higher densities than they were before, and uses they would not accept before. So along that line, again, if you already have approvals, if you could request higher density, for example, a townhouse project to apartments. Add other uses, because even to over-permit a site, say 125% over-permit, not knowing who will show up first, and that gives you the ability to lease or sell for whoever shows next. In Florida, we have deadly impact fees. You can attempt to delay them by putting up a letter of credit, say I'll pay them in 3 years, or when a property is stabilized, whatever that is, but significant savings. It's really almost capital. And then, again, challenge your tax assessments on land. And land is important to get the land as near ready as you can possibly make it. South Carolina came up with the word certified site, which means as ready to go as you can make it. And the real key is you can determine how long it will take someone to permit the site if they elected to buy it for a specific use. This is very important to site selectors, and you should advertise large certified sites through Site Magazine. They have a homepage for it. Consider expanding your current sites. If you can pick up adjacent land at a lesser price than you paid, you'll bring down your basis. Maybe even consider joint venturing with a adjacent land guy to throw it in. I think it would be smart, a good time to target close-in sites. They will recover before the far-out edge ones will, and they're probably priced at a price you would have been quite willing to pay at the top, and now you should be willing to pay now. In Florida, we also have, and in Chicago, interesting enough too, the agricultural exemptions with significant savings, on land tax, but you actually have to farm it. Plant corn, have cows running or something, and in Florida it helps a lot. And again, there are landowners out there, properties that you would like to have bought at some time. Now is the time to approach them and say, why don't we joint venture, so you may get in, at no cost or minimal cost and control land without actually having to buy it. Of course, the whole real thing, of course, is to try to reduce your revenue, increase revenues also. One thing you might consider doing if you have been managing only your own properties is seek third-party management. You have the infrastructure in place to do it and have a convincing case. In some cases, you can act as consultants with banks and lenders to earn fees, and that can actually lead to other opportunities, like find a site that's troubled and you end up buying it. Consult with master and special servicers. That's the CMBS market guys. Work with receivers. We found that receivers are overburdened right now and are quite interested in having someone work with them that has expertise they don't have, so you can do it as a consultant and then later sell the property. And consult with governments. For example, you might rewrite codes. You might act as an agent for them for other things like acquisitions. Get leads from attorneys, CPAs, and planners. They know who's in trouble. If you have a relationship with an attorney, see if they will introduce you so that you can go to them and help them out. If you have an active economic development organization, it's good to stay close to them so you'll know who the leads are and come in if they'll share them with you. If you have a construction arm, offer construction management services for a fee if you can. Consider selling some of your parcels in your park to users. In fact, we designed for it so we can do that to kick the return to release up. And look through your portfolio and sell your weak assets. Keep your core. And again, seek public-private partnerships. With a city or a county or airport or someone gives you the ability to get land at a modest price sometimes. If you offer build-to-suits, consider matching that with financing. Have it all prearranged, like SBA, for example. A lot of the small guys who would consider it don't have any idea how to finance it, and you can use SBA loans or industrial revenue bonds, both of which are readily accessible today when other opportunities aren't. As far as opportunities go, there are a lot of them now. One is to buy troubled assets. Another one is buy debt, at discount. Then the worst case scenario is the guy pays it off. If it's a site you want, and you have a tract that you can resell at a profit, you're probably at half its value or less. And again, I mentioned buy down your own loan. For partnerships that need additional equity, buy into a partnership to pay down their debt. Lease your rooftop to solar panel guys. We're working with a company that's paying somewhere between 25 and 50 cents a square foot. Of course, that goes straight to the NOI. And exploit any government expansions that's going on. They are, Fed government especially, is leasing additional space that are out for or build a suit. And of course, there are service providers like engineering guys who are looking for space now. If you're an industrial guy like we are, you may consider other property types, particularly ones that are first to recover while you're waiting for industrial recover. The four strong groups I see today are senior housing, assisted living facilities, medical facilities, and I'll mention for-profit schools. An example of that is DeVry just got put into Fortune 500, and they tend to be build-a-suit or tenants. They're all expanding right now. And look at new job generators in your market. Some surprise event. An example in our area was Medical City, which is east of the airport, has generated a huge amount of jobs. It's not coming in. And also look where the stimulus money is being spent. Maybe some opportunities there. Value Line is a stock market advisory service which you can get in your library. You can look at the 20. They have 90+ stock series in there. They rank them in order of strength. Right now, the for-profit schools rank first. One that just popped up a lot is restaurants, so that may be telling me there may be some build-to-suit opportunities for restaurants. Consider working with universities and colleges. They're short money, at least in Florida right now. Maybe they might be willing to do something in a partnership now they wouldn't have done before. One thing we've done for a long time is work with tech incubators. Those companies that are in there, if they don't go away, will pop out, and they'll need respace. I'm on an advisory board for the one at University of Central Florida, for example, and I'll advise those companies on a pro forma pro forma basis for helping them write their business plan. In the 2002, before the bubble broke, that was our top source of leads, and a lot of them grow very fast. Buy opportunistic properties now. You buy on current cap rate, and properties you would like to own, and then you have significant upside. As the caps come down and the rents go up and the tenants move in. Now's a good time to buy land. In Florida, you're getting it half or less of what it was, and then be prepared to develop later. And get your sites ready for development. Don't wait to permit it until the market turns to be too late. Now is also a good time to look at the typical buildings that you build and re-prototype it to get some degree of LEED certification. I was trying to think, what can you do to make you aware that something is about to change? I think if you look at the container traffic coming into the United States, look at the bulk cargo traffic coming into the United States, and look at the air cargo traffic, and then plot them as that international traffic picks up. That would lead you to believe there will be increased demand for warehousing, and what's causing that is increased consumption. And then as this stuff offloads, then it impacts rail traffic and truck traffic. And of course, that all leads to job growth. And then job starts, and then housing starts, and then eventually warehouse starts. And you might want to use a 3 months moving average, because connecting two dots does not a trend make. When you look at this stuff, you'll see how low it really is. Again, watch gross domestic product. Once it turns positive, that's advantaged on the macro level. On the micro level, I recently found out something as a result of a NAIOP research study that Sheila helped fund. Look at the metro domestic product, which really measures all the goods and services in your city. And 1% uptick in Orlando was actually calculated for Orlando, predicts a 1.5% increase, if I got it right, I remember the other way around, of industrial demand in the market. So we have 200 million square feet, say. So you say, when that ticks up, I'm looking at a couple million additional square foot goes. And it's about an 18-month lag. And the real key, again, is gross domestic product plus increase in total employment. When they're both positive, you're at the bottom. Here's a book you might want to read. It's a very, very quick read, and it's a quick look about what you can do, to survive. Again, it's a survival mode. Remember, what we're really saying is prepare for the worst and plan for the best, or better yet, plan for what we perceive to be next. One thing, the world will be different. You have to consider how so. For example, if our consumption is down, we may not need as many warehouses. The ones we have may be smaller, and I will guarantee the supply chain will be changed from what it was before. Really, there's no magic bullet. You got to do a little bit of all these things, or whatever is possible. And for any questions, now Sheila, I shout back to you.
Thanks, George. That was terrific. I want to thank you on behalf of NAIOP and our audience for sharing those pointers with us. For those who want to take another look at George's presentation, it will be available by close of business today, along with all of the past Solutions Series programs, and that's on the NAIOP corporate website, naiop.org. What you do is click on the large button on the front page that says Solutions Series. For the next Solution Series program, which will air on June 24th, we'll send you an email with details about the topic and presenter. And then, George, if you can click to the next slide.
I just tried. It didn't go.
Okay. Well, I'll say what's on it. In addition to these short online briefings, NAIOP also offers 90-minute webinars for topics that require more in-depth educational experience. And the next full webinar takes place on Thursday, June 18th at 1 o'clock. And that's with the futurist David Pierce Snyder. David's commentary is going to predict services and industries that will have the biggest projected employment gains and losses between now and 2016. So as George pointed out, this will tell us where, how and where there will be demands for commercial real estate.
Sheila, he was the guy that did the study for on the world is flat too, right?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Yes, and he's really good, so I recommend you listen in.
Thanks. The webinar that we're talking about on, let's see, June 18th, that one is $125 for NAIOP members and $189 for non-members. To register for that, you go online to naop.org/webinars. Thank you all for attending our session today. Please let us know what topics appealed most to you today, and also what topics and presenters you might want to hear from in the future. We encourage you to be part of the solution. Goodbye for now.